Hi guys, I'm Dr. Kiana from Endora Naturals, and in this video I'm going to be talking about how I grew my hair from my big chop to hip length, which is the current length that it is now. Um, so when I first decided to go natural, I grew my hair out for, my goal was to grow it out for a year before I cut it. When I was transitioning from a relaxer, but I didn't make it to a whole year. I think it was like the 10 or 11 month mark when I gave in and cut it off. So through my transition, I grew my hair out with braid outs. That was the first thing. So at the time, this was like, what year was this? Like early 2000s. So I didn't know that they were called braid outs, but that was the easiest style for me to do. That kind of blended my two textures. So I would just wash my hair with, back then, honestly, I think I was using Suave shampoo and conditioner. So I would wash my hair with Suave shampoo and then condition it. And then I would take a spray bottle, and I was adding, this was like my first entry into creating products, was I would mix some conditioner with some oils and shake it up and, apply it to my hair. And then I would put some kind of butter moisturizer. Even back then, I understood, for me, that butters weren't the best. Like plain shea butter wasn't a good styler for my hair. So I would mix it. I had a moisturizer that was shea butter based, and I would mix it with some water and aloe. And that's what I used as my styler. So I would do that. Back then, I was doing it twice a week. So I would shampoo and condition my hair twice a week, and then I would braid it and take the braids out, and that would be my braid out. And I wore my hair like that for the whole 10 months that I transitioned. So then when I got my hair cut, the length of my hair at the time of my big chop was probably about 4 inches long. I had like a little afro. And from there, I was washing my hair pretty frequently when I first got it cut. So I was not always using shampoo because I did find that the shampoo made my hair dry. So I would shampoo it maybe once a week, and then I would co-wash the second time during the week. So I was co-washing, and I was styling with just what my moisturizer concoction, my shea butter moisturizer with water. That's what I would style it with, and I would put on a headband and kind of pull it back into a puff. And I wore my hair like that for a year and a half. Just a puff with a headband. That was my go-to style until my hair got long enough for me to wear two-strand twists. And then I started wearing two-strand twists, and I wore those religiously, mini twists, for probably 3 years or so. And then I would wear the twist, and then I would do a twist out. Like I said, back then I didn't know that it was called a twist out, but I noticed that when I took out my twist, my hair was really curly. It looked cute. So I would wear it like that for another week or so, and then I would wash it and restyle my mini twist. I was trimming my own ends at that time. I would just trim the ends of my twist, a little quarter of an inch or so off of each twist. And I did that every 3 months or so. And that's when I started. So during that time is when I started making the products that I'm using for Endora Naturals, the deep conditioner, the clay mask, the leave-in conditioner. I came up with all those recipes during the time when I was growing out my hair. So at that time I was deep conditioning with my deep conditioner once a week. I was using the clay mask about every 2 weeks, and then I was using the leave-in conditioner every maybe twice a week. And then the oils too. I had my pre-shampoo oil back then that I use on my ends. And I did that maybe once or twice a week. And so the mini twist at that time also, I was washing my hair with the mini twist in. So I would put the mini twist in and I would leave them in for about a month. And I would deep condition my hair and use the clay mask on my hair with the twist in. Um, and then I wouldn't take them out until at the 3 or 4 week mark. I would take them out and wear the twist out for a week, and then I would wash my hair again loose, and then put the twist back in, and then I would wash my hair once a week with the twist still in. Um, the twist did get frizzy now, so because I was washing them, they would get frizzy, but I didn't care. I thought it still looked fine, so I left them in for the whole month. Even when they were frizzy, if they got too frizzy, I would like pin them back or something, get them out of my face. But I didn't care about the frizz. I did not straighten my hair. So once I did the big chop, I did not use any heat on my hair at all for 7 years. And the reason that I did that is because, for one, I wanted to get used to my natural hair texture. I wanted to be able to style my hair. I did not want to use straight hair as a crutch, that, I would, whenever I didn't know what to do with my hair, I would just straighten it and wear it straight. I didn't want that. So I refused to straighten my hair until I had a good handle on how to wear my natural hair, how to style it, and I felt comfortable with wearing my natural hair out in public. I did not want to go back to wearing my hair straight, because I felt uncomfortable with the way my natural hair looked. When I finally did straighten my hair after 7 years, it truly was just for fun, just for another option. It wasn't because I thought my natural hair was ugly. I didn't know how to style my natural hair. I was frustrated with my natural hair, nothing like that. It truly was just for no reason. But I didn't want to be relying on straight hair. So I just stuck with my natural hair. Now, during that time, I did have, some styling mishaps, some bad hair days while I was figuring it out. But I did figure it out. And, the two-strand twist worked for me. The twist outs worked for me. The puff, I still would wear occasionally. But so that's basically how I grew my hair to waist length, was with the two-strand twist and then twist outs. Now when I got to waist length, I found that my hair was tangling more. And the ends of my twists were starting to tangle and give me a lot of single strand knots. And what would happen is I grew my hair to waist length. It took me, I would say, maybe 3 years to get from, I guess if you include the year that I transitioned, it would be 4 years from like my last relaxer to waist length natural hair, was about 4 years. And then my hair got to waist length, and then my ends were really damaged, so I cut back up to like bra strap length. And then I grew it back out to waist length, and then my ends were damaged again, and I cut it back to bra strap length. And I went through that cycle like 3 or 4 times. And then what I found was the two-strand twists were not working for me anymore. I was making them very small. So when I say mini twists, I would say they probably were like more like micro twists. They were very, very tiny. And the ends were just curling on themselves. I wasn't using, back then, I wasn't using the pre-shampoo oil religiously on my ends. I just used it, whenever I remembered. So now I would say the pre-shampoo oil is a major part of my regimen. But that's because I learned back then that if I wasn't oiling my ends, they were getting tangled and getting all these knots and causing me to have to do these big trims once or twice a year. So what got me over that hump to get me from waist length to hip length was that I started blow drying my hair. So remember I said I went 7 years without using any heat at all. So I wasn't blow drying. I was only air drying. I didn't flat iron my hair at all during that time. So at the 7-year mark is when I started. So at this point, I have been going through this cycle between bra strap length and waist length for about 3 years. And then, I was trying different things to see like what would help. I tried protective styling, that didn't work for me. I tried, washing my hair more frequently, washing it less frequently, different things. Excuse me. So yeah, what I finally ended up doing was I would blow dry my hair with every wash. I wasn't flat ironing it. I would just blow dry it on low heat. And what that did was it just stretched my ends to keep them from tangling on each other. So I was using low heat. I used a comb attachment, and I would blow dry my hair every time I washed it. And then I would do a braid out or a twist out on blow dried hair. And I also started doing the flexi rod sets. So that's what I was doing on blow dried hair. I would do a flexi rod set, twist out, or braid out. And that's how I got my hair from waist length down to hip length. Once I got to hip length, then I kind of, at that point, I didn't really care to grow my hair any longer. So I just kind of styled it. However, that's when I started experimenting with wash and goes. And I did wash and goes for like 2 years straight. In the end, I found that I had the same issue as I had with the micro twist, that, it was making my ends more damaged and I had to keep cutting. So every time I would get past hip length, then I would have to cut. Sometimes I would go from hip length back up to waist length, and then I would have to, grow it back out to hip length. So in the end, after those 2 years, I decided to stop doing wash and goes too. So now I really only do 2-strand twists and twist outs. But at this point, I make my 2-strand twists a lot bigger than they were in the beginning when I was doing the micro twist. So now when I do 2-strand twists, they're pretty big. And that just helps to keep my ends from tangling so much. So my twist out is a little bit chunkier than it was when I was doing the very small twist. So yeah, that's pretty much it. That's how I grew my hair from big chop to waist length. So I started with braid outs. And then I started, then I wore puffs with a headband. And then I did micro twists, 2-strand twists with twist outs. And then I started blow drying it and doing my twist outs and braid outs on blow dried hair. And that's how I got to hip length. So back then I washed my hair. So I started off when my hair was very short, I washed it like twice a week. And then when I got to probably like armpit length, I started washing it once a week. I was deep conditioning. By then I had created my deep conditioner, so I was deep conditioning every week. And then just low manipulation throughout that whole time. I was trimming every 3 to 4 months. And that's it. I never did any weaves or wigs or like braids with, added hair. So I never did any of that. No real protective styling, just my 2-strand twists. That was it. So if you guys have any question about the regimen that I used, it was pretty simple, honestly. I think that the regimens that I hear like naturals using now are a lot more involved and like a lot more complicated than mine was. But I do have a passion for hair care, but I just don't have the time to spend on my hair. Like I don't have time to be styling my hair for hours and hours and hours. One of the problems that I did have when I was in that period where I was trying to get from waist length to hip length was that I dealt with a lot of tangles and my styling time was way too long. So the way that I fixed that was by deep conditioning more often, and that's when I switched from using the shampoo to using the clay mask the majority of the time. And that really cut down on my tangling problem, because I was spending, before I switched over to the clay mask, I was spending like, man, 4, 5, 6 hours. Like I would wash my hair and it would be just a big, huge, tangled mess that the shampoos that I was using were just stripping, drying my hair, and just making it so tangled. And it was taking me all day to get through my hair, and it was just, I was so frustrated. I would cry. Like, it was terrible. So what helped me get through that was the clay and the deep conditioner, which the links to those products are in the description box down below. But yeah, that really saved me from, because my hair was tangling so bad. So I'm gonna do, because this video is getting long, so I'm gonna do a separate video on what my current regimen is. So I'll include that in a separate video so I can cut this one off. Okay, so that's all for this one. If you have questions or comments, leave them down below. You can also get in touch with me by emailing me at contact@endaranaturals.com. All right, see you in the next video.